So, what am I saying? My concern is for government, instead of addressing the local challenges so that we can create employment for all these health workers, but now focusing on taking these health workers outside, there I disagree with the government.
All right, Justinian, there's a bit that was actually focused at you.
Yeah. With respect to the health workers who are not employed currently, I think there's a deficit of health workers, and there's a reason that you have a huge need on the one hand in rural, hard-to-reach places, and yet you have people who are unemployed. It doesn't make sense. But it goes back down to the question of adequate resources being put in the health sector. So you've got to increase the pay. Secondly, you've got to improve working conditions. You know, you have doctors in Kalangala district who have to perform operations and they don't have surgical gloves. You have doctors who are punished for taking a master's degree now. You're struck off the roll instead of being supported. All these measures need to be improved so that you retain your doctors, because there's no point complaining about brain drain. Brain drain obviously happens for a reason. There are push factors and there are pull factors, and we've got to have a comprehensive response. And I think this is an interesting issue, because this is going to be the beginning of a debate about comprehensive healthcare reform. The Honourable Member of Parliament has spoken about re-centralizing health worker deployment. That is very important. So there has to be re-centralization, and Parliament should have a bill to re-centralize health worker recruitment and deployment. Secondly, I think Parliament also has a role to play. They should pass the National Health Insurance Bill, which has been pending for 5 years or 6 years.
These are all issues that Parliament has been promising.
Yes. No, it is pending in the bill. It's pending. Most bills come from government, executive. Yes. That bill is in the Ministry of Health. It's not in the Parliament, so we cannot pass what is not before us.
There's a public-private partnership bill. I also believe that to expect the government to provide all health services, I think, is unreasonable. It's not going to be possible now. But there is a role that the private sector can play,
has been passed by Parliament,
to supplement government efforts in providing social services.
That's the one the President had sent back. Okay, let's take another question from the audience.
Before we go to the question, I just want, you know, when somebody presents a case purportedly based on statistics, then that the statistics have got to conform with the allegation.
Are you saying that the statistics that Justinian and
Justinian
the Institute
is
used...
basing his argument on statistics, but he doesn't tell us how much percentage of these health workers who are being taken... he gave us a figure of those who are being taken away, but he has not given us a figure of those who have been living on their own because of circumstances.
Are you saying?
I can combine that as well. Yes. For example,
and he has not given us a figure on those who are qualified and have no jobs. So that actually, what he's trying to do, I'm just being suspicious that the gentleman is just trying to paint this exercise in bad faith without actually realizing that this case has got, it's multifaceted.
All right, let's ask Justinian, are you just sabotaging a nice program?
Because if he wants to give us a realistic picture, he should tell us, look, we have this number of people in these categories in the health sector.
All right, Justinian has got a number of...
right?
I think before Justinian comes in,
to tell us.
I also want to add that some of the unemployment is actually artificial, because as Parliament, we've been providing resources, but most often, the government ministries fail to absorb the resources. If you take an example of Kambuga Hospital, which is in my constituency, it has a provision for 7 medical officers, and the money is there to recruit and actually have these doctors there. But for 3-4 years, it only has 1 medical officer. And a financial year ends and you find these ministries...
Actually, one hospital like Nebi hasn't had a doctor for a while.
Yes, and we provide money as Parliament to recruit and post these medical officers there. So some of this unemployment is, I want to say, artificial and can be addressed through our own administrative reforms within the ministries. That's why my concern is, that's where the focus of government should be, to ensure that the 70 positions of doctors in the Kambuga Hospital are filled, rather than rushing to send them to Trinidad and Tobago.
To fill empty positions in Trinidad. No, let's allow this.
Excuse me. But why,
Ambassador,
why do we have these positions unfilled? The money is there, the positions are unfilled, but there are people who are supposed to fill these positions and have no jobs.
Okay, Ambassador, Honorable Bariomusi explained that the best thing to do is government should first fix that before they send people to another country. But let's hear from Justinian. Yes.
Right.
Just very quickly, so we take another question.
Since you wanted statistics, I'm going to give you more statistics. But it's very interesting that the ambassador does not give you the statistics. They are the ones at the forefront of sending these people abroad, and is asking me for information.
Mine is foreign
policy. All right, let's hear the
assumed.
statistics that you have.
Foreign policy.
All right, let's go for the
Let me just give you a few
policy, not
statistics.
statistics.
100,000 children die of malaria every year in Uganda. Ebola in the last year only killed 8,000 people in the 3 countries. But you have 100,000 children dying of malaria alone. You have 6,000 women dying during labor in Uganda every year. In the 3 years that he's talking about, 300,000 children would have died and 54,000 mothers would have died in labor. Is that justifiable?
All right, let's take another question. Let's take a question from the lady at the front. Yes, madam. Name, question, and comment.
Thank you, Gabriel. My name is Nina, and I come from Nakasongola district.
Yes, Nina.
A very rural area where there is only one doctor. So, my question goes to Mr. Muhindo. What plans, what policies are you putting in place for us, the pregnant women there deep in the village who are suffering, who are dying every day, and you're busy sending away the only doctor that is in the village?
So what happens in a case where...
do you have for us?
All right, Nina, thank you. What happens in a case where the place has one doctor, like Nakasongola, Nina says, and that doctor actually applies to go to Trinidad and Tobago, and they qualify? Do you send them?
Well, that could be answered with a similar question. Why is this doctor still in Uganda and is not in Nakasongola? What's wrong? What's happening? He's not yet in Trinidad. He's in Uganda, but he's not in Nakasongola. What's happening? Would the Minister of Foreign Affairs answer that, or Honorable Barrio? Because, as I have said, for us, we deal with policy.
But if we continue to pass the buck, then who is responsible for the
So what
issue?
we need to do, the approach, we should be methodical. The approach should be first things first.
And what in your case would be the first thing?
First thing would be, let our parliamentarians work together with the government to first of all establish, there is a problem, for example, I don't know whether it's a problem yet. Are we overproducing doctors? Are these universities regulated? Is everybody producing doctors that we cannot employ? That is one question. The second question is, has Parliament worked together with government to make sure that when these doctors leave university, when they have got their qualifications, there is a way they are employed, there is a way they are deployed to Nakasongola and all these places, so that at the end of the day, we can say, now we have a surplus of so many. We can now turn to Trinidad and send this surplus. But we don't even have this kind of...
Those questions you should have asked
You
Minister
should
of
have
Health.
asked, these questions should have been asked even before those adverts were put up.
For us,
because how do you start to plan to send away doctors when you don't know if you even
for
have
us,
a surplus or a
when
deficit?
by the time we started this exercise, as I said at the beginning, we contacted the Ministry of Health.
Did they give you a green light?
Of course, that's why they are on our committee.
All right, let's take a break at this point. When we come back from the break, we'll discuss further. But our parliament also airs on radio. We're going to show you a list of the radio stations that play this program. Find a radio station that's near you and listen to us on radio. Let's go for a break. We'll be back.